Hi, I'm Paris, and if you've been watching my videos on my lifestyle and diet improvement, you know I am a big fan of sweet potato. And I've gathered 4 of my favorite variety of sweet potato here, not to consume today, but rather to start a sweet potato patch out in the garden in the backyard, so that 4 months from now I can have about 20 platters of sweet potato, all grown from this original set. You talk about good returns on the stock market. I can take $15 worth of sweet potatoes and in 4 months turn them into $300 worth of sweet potato. That's a pretty good investment. Now you might be saying, yeah, what is that? 5 years worth of sweet potato you're going to grow? No, this platter, I'd finish this in less than a week. I eat 3 to 4 sweet potato a day. So what stands between me and this great investment opportunity? Well, there's birds, squirrels, disease, insects. If it were that easy to take 1 plate of food and turn it into 20 plates of food, I think everyone would be a farmer, but it's not a sure thing. But today is about positivity and potatoes and hoping for a good harvest 4 months out. So if you're not familiar, sweet potato, just like your regular russet potato, doesn't grow from seeds. Instead, it grows from slips that grow from the actual potato. In the russet potato, you'll find the eyes that have the little new plants start growing. Similar to this, and so I'm going to grow it in a way that I can watch as it happens. I'm starting it now, the end of January, which is much too early to plant them because a frost will kill the plants. But I need to get those little slips, which is what they call the little growths that come out of the different parts of the potato that you break off. And I'll take those and I'll put them in the little starter pots to get the roots established, and hopefully in 6 to 8 weeks, they'll be ready to transplant into the garden in the backyard. So for today, all I need to get started is plastic cups, toothpicks, and my plate of potatoes. I'll tell you briefly about the 4 types of sweet potato I'm working with. I have Stokes sweet potato. These are sort of a spin-off of the original Okinawan sweet potato, which are purple inside. These are purple inside and purple outside. They're from the Okinawan sweet potato, but they're designed to grow in North Carolina. So here in Austin, Texas, I'm thinking we don't really have Okinawan weather. I'll have a better chance of getting these to grow. And I'm also growing Murasaki sweet potato, also called Japanese sweet potato. And yes, I know Okinawa is in Japan. These, even though they're purple on the outside, are different from the Stokes spin-off of the Okinawan sweet potato. These are white on the inside. They taste sweeter than these, but they're both really delicious. Then there's the Hana sweet potato. These are white on the outside and white, well, a creamy white on the inside. They're kind of similar to standard russet potato in their texture, but they taste like they already have butter in them. They are so creamy. The rest of my family doesn't really care for these, but I love these. And finally, the Beauregard or Jewel sweet potato. This is what you'll most commonly find at the local supermarket. I like the smaller size Beauregard and Jewel sweet potato because after baking them, I like to eat them as a finger food. Skin and all. They're really good after they've been cooked while they're still warm, and even the next day right out of the refrigerator. Now, the first issue you can run into with setting up your own sweet potato patch is if the potatoes that you get to start everything from have been sprayed or waxed so that they don't sprout. And some growers do that, some supermarkets do that. If you get organic sweet potato, you're more likely to have them in a natural form, where given the right conditions, they will produce the slips that you can grow plants from. And as I understand it, if you're not able to do this technique for getting them started, you can order the sweet potato slips or starter plants online, or maybe find them at your local nursery. So the way this works is pretty simple. You get a cup, you get the sweet potato, and you're going to put this in the cup with water so that it about half covers the potato, and then pointy side down. And on the part that's sticking up out of the water, you should get several slips forming, and they should grow to about 6 inches long. It would be nice to get about 5 slips per sweet potato. And I guess I could just do this and fill it about halfway with water, but what they recommend is taking toothpicks. You take the toothpicks and you insert them around the sweet potato in about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch, so it'll hold the weight of it. And then you set them in the cup, fill the cup with water, and you've got your little incubator going. I used 4 toothpicks, and that seems to be able to hold the weight of a medium-sized sweet potato pretty well. If the sweet potatoes you're working with are too fat or too long to reasonably fit in the cup, you can cut them and then use just part of it with the toothpicks to hold it in the water. And I'm going to label each cup with a variety of sweet potato growing in it, so maybe after 2-3 weeks they all kind of tend to look the same. That way I'll still be able to know which is which. Here are my sweet potatoes, half dipped in water in the window where they can get some sunlight, and hopefully in a couple weeks time I'll see some slips forming. When they get to about 6 inches long, I'll snip them off. That'll probably be at about 5 or 6 weeks. Something interesting here, they've been in the water for about an hour. If you look at the murasaki, the color of the water, and also the color of the stokes, the purple sweet potatoes are already turning the water that they're sitting in purple. That's the anthocyanins, the antioxidants that are part of what makes sweet potato so healthy. And I've got the rest of them, mostly stoked sweet potato, over here facing the backyard, which will soon be the home of their slips. Here's the corner of the yard where I've made my attempts at gardening in years past. It's pretty good soil here. I had some brought in and dug this whole area out. If I can summon up the energy, I'm going to dig up all of this again so it's all nice loose soil, and then bring in some more new soil to put in rows to make mounds about 10 inches high, because the sweet potato grows best in that loose soil. I do have some time to get that done until the chance of last frost is past, but not as much time as I used to though. Did you know that the seed companies have had to redo the maps and charts on the back of their packaging that tells you when it's safe to plant to reflect the fact that it's so much warmer now and you can plant so much earlier? But trying to stick today with positivity. The water will need to be changed in each of those cups about every 3 days, and I have to be on the lookout for moldy stuff growing or things just not going well. So I did a few extra cups. I have 18 in total. Just in case a few go bad, I'll still have a full garden's worth of slips. And if you'd like to follow along on my sweet potato farming adventure, as well as my palm date tree growing adventure as well, be sure and click subscribe down below. So I was taking the pits from the most delicious dates that I ate and planting those. But in any case, I've got my little orchard, and maybe with growing the palm trees, I'll be able to convince some Okinawan sweet potato that they should grow in my garden too.